Welcome to this episode of Beauty Business Matters, and I am here with Arif Ishkhan, who is possibly the top global retail sales trainer. And I am very, very fortunate to know Arif on a personal level as a friend, but also as an expert, and work closely with him within my programs and with my members. And I am just so fortunate to have Arif here, who is going to give some of his top tips. And by the end, you'll have a huge amount of information on how to take your sales to another level. And this episode is a super special one. We have Arif with us, who is, what can I say? I mean, since I've met you, which is less than a year ago.
It was less than a year ago, but it feels a lot longer.
I know, it's been a whirlwind. Arif, for anyone who doesn't know, Arif is probably one of, or possibly the top global retail trainer for premium brands. Awesome. And now is working more and more in the beauty industry. I've brought him in and doing amazing things. So Arif, do you want to just do a little bit of an intro into you and a little bit about how this all came about? Well, not so much just us, but how your whole career came about.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I think, you know, to have a consultancy now, I never ever envisaged having that at this point of life. In fact, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or a physicist. You know, when you come from your family, they think that's the heights of achievement. But actually, beauty was a huge passion of mine. You know, I mean, if you cut my veins, I bleed beauty products. And it was from 17 years old that I fell in love with the art of transformation. I love the fact that beauty products make you feel a certain way. Definitely when I was suffering with acne at such an early age in my life, and I saw what Roaccutane did to so many of my friends and people that I knew, I didn't want to go down that route. So I wanted to find kind of natural solutions. And it actually took me to being a Saturday boy in a very conservative shop at 17 years old, selling beauty products. And I was selling a pot of cream, which was, I think at that time, £245, Orchidea Imperial by Guerlain. And I was 17, I remember. And one of the area managers of Guerlain was just doing a spot check visit to this little department store called Brad Beer's Perfumery. And they saw me selling this cream with no experience whatsoever. And they invited me to interview for John Lewis Southampton. And then at 18 years old, I worked there in Southampton whilst doing my degree. I built that business. I then was headhunted to Selfridges. I was one of the youngest assistant managers, where I quickly became a trainer, and I was kind of catapulted to working in events as well and education, where I was a skincare specialist and fragrance specialist. And I actually was working in Harrods, Selfridges, all along kind of Oxford Street, and launching exclusive fragrances with the perfumer Thierry Vasseur at the time, which was amazing for me. And then from then on, massive successes with huge launches in Selfridges. And I said, oh my goodness, that this could be like my calling. I could do this as something that I wanted to achieve. And then I climbed the ropes. I went from LVMH to L'Oreal. I was one of the youngest business managers in Selfridges at 23, 24. I had a 2-point-something million pound business, 25 members of staff I was looking after, which was amazing. And then I went to do more education. And for me, I was always educating, and I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. So I worked corporate, national sales manager. I don't want to bore everyone, but national sales manager of Hourglass Cosmetics. So I looked after the entirety of the country. I spent some time in Canada, Miami in my mid-20s, and I wrote their training, launched them in Harrods, grew, multi-million pound businesses. And then I wanted to learn how to do it myself. I was sick of corporate life. I wanted to kind of put my mark on the industry and do what I loved, which was my art of storytelling and impassioning and doing retail sales the way that I always wanted to do it. Because I think when people see growth, they just assume something. They assume that you've followed something that's already been done for you. But I was creating all of this for myself. So I took the plunge 5 years ago and I launched my consultancy.
Wow. Yeah. And never looked back. I mean,
Never look back.
the thing is that, when you sort of tell me the places that you've been and what you've done, it's just unreal. And I was just very, very fortunate to meet you. And that was purely by chance, wasn't it? We were both at an event in London. We got introduced. And since then, we've just been practically joined at the hip, because I just thought, right, this is what we need in the beauty industry. Because, retail sales is such a huge integral part of, I always like to think, and I know you always say as well, you can't quite understand how, therapists can sell treatments for hundreds of pounds that last possibly an hour or two, yet they can't sell a cream that's going to last 2-3 months. And I always and it just resonated straight away. And I just thought, yeah, we need Arif in our industry. And the thing is that I know you've spoken at some of my mastermind days, and we've now got you doing things with the Beauty Roundup. You came out last year to Malta to our beauty business event out there as well, the boot camp, and you're coming out again this year. And the thing is that every single time there's just more and more golden nuggets that you give, and I just think, oh my God, that is just amazing. So how did you come about because I think there's this big fear in our industry of sales, and I know you've worked with my team as well, and you've also worked with quite a few of the members from Beauty Directors Club with their teams, and the difference is huge in their confidence. And I think you just take that element of, well, why wouldn't somebody be wanting to take a product or be on a skincare regime? So where does, you seem to have transitioned very, very easily from sort of the departmental store kind of sales to how we are. I always think we in some ways have it very easy because, and I'll let you explain about how it works. Where I always love how you say about you practically have to trip somebody up to get in front of them. Where we know we've got someone coming in, quite often we know what is wrong with their skin and everything before what they need, and it was just that block beforehand. So if you could sort of explain a little bit about how it works in the departmental store and how much easier it is for us, that would be so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. First of all, thank you, because you've definitely noticed something that needs to be done in the industry. And I think for me, that transition from retail to salon or spa was actually quite an easy one, because actually you still have an obligation for that customer journey. And even if I came from Harrods, Selfridges, Liberty of London, I've worked some time in Bergdorf Goodman. I was actually 2 weeks ago in Gary Lafayette in Paris doing their training. Yes. So for me, that regardless of where you come from, that element of luxury and that element of service and that customer journey has to be everything that you think about. So you can go to some of the most amazing places in the world and they could have the most innovative treatments. But if you are not creating moments of romanticism, if you're not telling stories and taking your client on a journey, then how do you expect them to fall in love with what you're selling? And we have to remember that treatment is only as good as A, the therapist or the practitioner, and B, the technology or tools, including product, you're using. And I think it's very safe to say that aftercare is hugely integral to getting results, right? And actually, if you are, and this is not to undermine the industry at all, but if you were to have a facial, for instance, you may get 1 week to 2 weeks out of those results before your skin starts to go back to normal, because it's the massage technique, it's the blood flow that comes to the surface of the skin, you're detoxifying, all that wonderful stuff, you're re-energizing the skin, but that only lasts for a small amount of time. And our therapists are actually charging from a retail perspective, such a huge amount of money for those 45 minutes, hour and a half sessions. And actually, products with active ingredients give you longer lasting transformation and change, but actually they deliver that customer journey at home. So you can experience those moments at home. And for me, as you can imagine, I have a hectic life, very busy,
Very hectic,
very busy. And for me, that time in the evening, or that 5 minutes in the morning where I'm massaging my skin, I'm cleansing my face, I'm using my serums, my eye creams, that's my meditation. So that's massively important for me as an individual.
Yeah.
And actually, we tend to assume too much in the industry that a client already is using product, or a client does not have time, or a client doesn't want to take product home. We don't ask the right questions. And 90% of the time, it's the therapists that make the assumption, an incorrect assumption. And something I always say is, if you genuinely feel that these products are going to transform your client for the better, to give them far better skin, to encourage their well-being or even their mental health, which I think is vitally important.
Totally.
That comes from a place of genuine integrity, then they should be leaving with those products. And I've not come across any therapists that sell product just to sell product. They always sell product because of the value that it gives to the client, but they just don't do it enough because there's this whole issue of fear. There is fear of rejection. There's fear of confrontation. No one likes to be put in awkward situations. And there's also fear of being told no. But actually, that's quite normal. Going back to the second part of what you were saying regarding retail, we all have that obligation for that customer journey. And actually, human beings purchase from an emotional level. So we always tend to forget this. We think that we purchase because we want to purchase, but we don't. And it's exactly the same as in salon. If you walk in and you have a treatment, it's not because you want a treatment. It's because you want emotional transformation. You might not feel confident in your skin. There might be something that's going on and you feel like, I want to relax. I want to de-stress. You might want to, you're going out because you're going to a party or an event or someone's wedding. But that means that you want transformation because you're not happy with your skincare. Like for me, I don't really get facials. I know that's hard to believe. But I don't, because I'm actually quite happy with my skin. I'm happy with my routine. However, I'm always upping my game in my skincare because that's where my emotion lies. I don't want to go back to how I was before. I don't want to have oily, greasy skin, open pores and breakout. That's an emotional place. If I was confident enough with my open pores, I wouldn't want to fix it. So we have to remember that any purchase we make comes from an emotional place. And I want our therapists to actually forget that they're selling product. What they're selling is an emotion. And this is how I come at retail so differently. Whereas nowadays, we still have those old, outdated, mundane retail models. But I come from a place of storytelling, deep emotional connection to understand your client and also give the teams those viable tools to cross that link and get over their own fears and their own mindset. And I hope that makes sense.
I think where it all comes from is from training, because in college you were trained in treatments, and then normally a client will see a advert or a brochure or look on a website, and the thing that they see are treatments. So the first point of contact is someone coming in for a treatment, and it's moving that client, finding out exactly what that client needs and taking them then on a journey. And I always like to say, the thing is, the treatments are never ever going to do that long-term effect, like you say, because I always like to say, if someone's coming in for 12 facials, you're probably looking at, that's like in total half a day a year. Like if it's like a monthly facial, an hour's facial, 364 and a half days of the year, the client's just left to do whatever they want. And I think it's getting that across to a client that it's a two-way thing, that if they are using the right products, then the treatments are going to work better, because you do run that risk as well of clients not using the right things at home, that they come in, they have a treatment or they have a course of treatment and they think, well, it wasn't that good. But it's because of like they're not on the right regime. So I think it's just re-educating and having that confidence, because I think in the past it's always been looked at as if like, oh, it's that extra thing to do kind of thing. And it's always been that, do you want to, and I know you talk about it brilliantly, you know, about like someone just trying to like push a product on someone and like, oh, I've done it, where one product as well is not going to do anything. It's got to be a whole thing. So how do you, I mean, as I say, and I can see a change in the confidence of my team just from you coming for one visit. And I know the program that you do over set amount of sort of visits and things, but how do you take that therapist from there? And because I wasn't in on the training, and all I've seen is you in front of my members or when we've done a mastermind day, and just the 20-30 minutes that you've done has been transformational, but it's a lot bigger process, isn't it?
It is, and thank you so much, because that means the world to me. You know, I'm really passionate. You know, when I launched my business, I went against the grain, and you know, I think it's really important. And I teach vulnerability, and I think it's important to share vulnerability. And I was very vulnerable, and you know, it was challenging for me, but I really persisted, because I think to really innovate and believe in what you do, you have to take risks, and it's taken me, you know, that amount of time to be able to do so. But I'm really proud, and for you to feed back that that's transformed your team or improved their confidence is amazing. And actually, that's not just one time I hear that. You know, I created Retail Excellence, this course that I've created, of course, to transform retail. But actually, as a consequence, it's done so much more, because it's given teams viable tools to learn how to communicate far better, improving their confidence, improving their mindset when it comes to retail. And actually, all retail is a conversation. That's it. You know, I think it's difficult, because when you say sell product, people think, oh my goodness, or immediately you see their body language change. They get clenched, they get into themselves, their face drops, they get worried and anxious. But actually, sales should be exactly as what we're saying now. It should be a cup of tea. Yeah, a conversation over a cup of tea with a friend. That's it. But that only happens if you've built rapport. And that only happens from a place of genuine integrity and emotional connection. Now, you can be a therapist and you could be in a treatment room. And if you built those steps, if you built rapport, if you built connection, you can not only sell product, you could sell food. You could sell houses, you could sell cars, clothes, jewelry. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're selling. But what you have to do is build that connection first of all. And this is where I find the difficulty is, definitely within the industry, and what I've observed most certainly since the pandemic, is that people have lost the ability to build conversation and to connect. And actually, Susan, you put it really well, because if you are a client, say for instance, a normal client journey is, hello, hi Susan, how are you? You know, I'm well, great, come in today, have this treatment. And then you have a very quick consultation. They sit on the bed. The rest of the 45 minutes is done in complete silence. That's it. Then
or
afterwards,
chat.
Or chat, true. And then there's been no focus on that emotional connection. There's been no focus on product. There's been no focus on that genuine kind of journey. And then afterwards, we turn around to the client and say, okay, so we've used A, B, and C on you today. So you can take these if you want, but you don't have to have them. But then I'll write them down for you. Just have a think about it. And I've seen it time and time. You're smiling because you know what they're like.
Oh, here's a sample. And then you get a client coming back like saying, I love the sample, can I have another sample?
Yeah, exactly. And all this does is it closes that conversation straight away, because they feel like, okay, I've introduced the product, I've done my job, now it's up to the client. But actually what they've done is they've used 3 tactics to immediately shut down the sale. And it also happens in retail, you know, when I'm training in retail as well. It's so funny. The second you sample, you've closed that. You cannot sell a product.
Yeah.
The second you write something down, if they haven't wanted to actively purchase something already, you've shut down that conversation. You can't sell a product. If you give them an option, where you say, well, what do you think? I hate that, Susan. When you sit up on the bed and they show you a mirror, they're like, what do you think? What do you think? Well, what am I meant to think? Have you done a good job or not? Is my skin glowing or not? You tell me what you think. You're the expert. And I sit there and I'm thinking, what do you think? What's that?
Yeah.
Tell them. Your skin looks incredible.
Yeah.
Those ingredients are working deep within your skin and giving you such incredible glow. Can't you see it? Can you feel it? Your client touches. Oh my goodness, that feels amazing. That looks incredible. Great. We'll use A, B, and C on you. Say, I know you're using this product already. Please carry on using that. But I think real benefits, only use that in the night and start using this product in the day. And you need to start using this serum underneath it. If you get on with these really well, when you finish your eye cream, come back and buy the eye cream. I'll get these put on reception for you and I can't wait to see you. Let's book you back in 6 weeks' time and let's get your skin to where it needs to go.
Yeah, I know. The thing is that it is, I always like to say, you know, that a professional, you wouldn't go to a dentist and them go, do you like your teeth? Do you want to book back in again?
Yes.
Would you like to have this floss? You know, you just the thing is that it's taken charge, isn't it? And where I see it goes wrong sometimes is, and I have conversations with salon owners all the time around this, is because salon owners will say, well, I can sell. I don't know why they can't. I can sell. And I say, but the thing is that, you know, I've been out of my clinic now for 15 years. I could still walk in, take something off a shelf and say to a client, you need this product, this is going to be perfect for you, even not knowing about it, and a client will take it because I'm the salon owner and I've got that extra confidence to. And the thing is that I see this all the time. I'll say to you know, salon owners, you'd be better off, you know, stepping away and saying, you know, Jenny's the one who's the expert in this, you know, like I'll let her explain all about it. And yes, the product would be great, but I'll let Jenny explain about it, kind of thing. Because instead what they do is they use it as an example to like go like, well, I've sold that. And it just, you see the therapist's like confidence go here, and the salon owner's thinking, yeah, well, I'm great, I can do it. But it's because as a salon owner, you've got that confidence. And that's what I have seen the difference with my team, is that they've now got that confidence to, instead of like say, would you like this, to like say, this is what you need. This is perfect, kind of thing.
I love that.
And it's lovely to see that, because then if a client says, well, no, not at the moment, then it's like, yeah, right. And then the next time they're in, how about we look at this, kind of thing. And it's just, as I say, that confidence and not feeling like it's a sales process. Yeah, it's definitely works, Arif, definitely works.
Good.
Because I can see our well, as well, because what we do is and again, this is something I think that salon owners don't do, or salon, you know, like in general, don't monitor the retail sales against their treatment. They'll just look at the overall what's been taken into the salon, and then like look at the shelf and like say, you know, right, we need to get loads of products out, and then it just creates tension. But I think, I know you get everyone to look at like their salon software and things like that, and they have to like produce metrics to show you. And do you find that works? And what is there a particular? Well, I know you work quite a bit with a lot of like my salons work with Forest, so I know they have great metrics and things. Is that general across most software, or is it just certain softwares that are better at pulling those metrics out?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think I'm going to go back a little bit, because so the reason I created the course, as you said, and again, thank you. I love the fact that your team are now using those those tidbits that we're giving them, that confidence. You're right. First of all, there's that confidence thing and that confidence piece. When you are the owner, through authority, you can sell anything because someone's coming to your business, your home,
Yeah.
and that you are the authority, you are the lead person there. So they will always follow your judgment. It's just like if a brand founder comes in at an event and it's their products, then and a client is speaking to them, or customer speaks to them, of course they're going to sell their product. It's a matter of fact. So that positional authority we also do cover with the team and say to them, you are incredible. This is what you studied for. You're an expert in your field. You're the boss, not the client, which is difficult for them to think, but actually their client has come to them for transformation. Exactly like when you go to the dentist for your teeth, they're the expert. Exactly like when you go to the doctor, they're the expert. It is no different than with a therapist, regardless of age, regardless of experience. They've done their qualifications. They know their stuff. If they didn't, they wouldn't be in that place. And people come to them because they trust their advice and they have to believe in themselves. And this is something that most retail doesn't teach. It teaches techniques to sell, but doesn't teach that mind piece beforehand. So yes, metrics are super important. And this is why I teach in 3 modules. So we can allow for certain learning. So say module 1 is storytelling and things like this. And storytelling is a huge part of what I do, creating that customer journey. Module 2 is understanding reconfirmation and those tactics to really engage with your client and get them to understand your expertise. Module 3 is link selling, things like that. And these are segmented because over 6 months, you want to see that growth and that ability in your team, because people only have very short attention spans, even in training. And actually 5 hours of intensive education is challenging and you can't cover everything in 5 hours. So that's why I've created these segments. So the metrics are very important because you can review your sales, you can review your retail performance and individually look at your team and see how they're growing. And there are a variety of different softwares out there. However, for the majority of salons I've worked with, I'd say Forest is probably the best because it actually allows you to break down your units, your pound sales, your individual team members, an overview of your business to really understand what is going on completely. And I think that's very, very important. And through that, they also do, there's a great pie chart that I get sent from the salon owners, and I can see the mix of business as well, which is great. So you can see product sales versus their conversion rate to treatments, and you can see who's taking their share of the pie, which is amazing because I do feel like salon owners don't look at their metrics enough. And something I tell you, Susan, if you had a team, if you had a salon and you've got 5 team members, you're open 7 days a week. If each one of your teams sold 1 product, just 1 per day, that's an increase of your turnover of over £82,000 a year. I mean, it's madness how much product can innovate your business. You can rise easily to add 250,000 growth in a year to your business by getting them to sell 3 products each per day.
Well, actually, it's even more because you would presume if someone's buying that 1 product, they're going to love that product. They're going to come back for it. Yes. So it's not you reselling 1 product as well and selling 1. So the thing is that as it goes on, that eventually gets to 2, 3, and really, really accelerates quite quickly. It's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So with the program, are you taking that into spas as well, or is it just salons that you've been to?
I think the journey is the same. Spa and salon, I think it's exactly the same. I think the environment's very different. So it's all over. I'm using it in retail pieces. And, I think it's important to add because I've been working now with my consultancy for a number of years. I've been very privileged to work for some of the finest brands in the world. And the last 2 years, I've actually been asked by different brands, blue chip brands, we're talking billion-dollar companies, which I was completely shocked at, to actually come and reinvigorate their education piece to do what I'm actually teaching in salon and spas to independents, to global blue chip brands, which is amazing. My latest project is working with cow brands, so Kerasil, Orbay, Goldwell, in more of the salon hair world. But I've been commissioned to work with their global training team and re-educating on the power of storytelling. And that's been incredible. But equally, I launched a brand in the US into 536 Whole Food stores and devised the entire retail and education strategy around that. So I'm taking all of my learnings, and remember, I started on the shop floor. I was a top seller in the country. I know what it's like to sell, but equally, I also know what it's like to be on your feet for 12 hours a day. I did it for years, and it's not easy. But actually, if you do build that confidence and you do get over that, the opportunities can be vast and your confidence greatly improves. So I've taken all of that work. I've been awarded 2 awards, which is amazing.
And as well, you've just had an accreditation with Habia.
I know, which I never thought that was possible. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. So Retail Excellence is the first ever retail course that has an official certification from any UK body. And that's because the proven metrics. So at a minimum, we've seen 120% growth at retail as a minimum. The maximums are far, far higher, but I like to keep focus, and I like to just say a minimum. But if you really work and you support your team through this, you can revolutionize how you retail. And I'm really proud of that.
So can we just have maybe it's just a few key tips? The one I love is, I'll start you off. The one I love is that if someone puts a product on the back of someone's hand, they are 40% more likely to buy. Yes. I just think that is, and it's just simple things like that that make such a difference. So can we have another couple?
Absolutely. Touch, as you said, is vitally important, but not just touch product on the back of the hand. I do love that. I do love that trick. But touching an elbow, touching an arm, touching a knee, where it's appropriate, of course. But it blows my mind that when we go to treatment as a client, we feel quite vulnerable because people see us half naked. We have body issues that we feel we're not confident with. We trust someone to touch us, to look at us, to judge us, because that's what you feel. You feel you're going to be judged. Yet therapists only touch at the beginning of treatment. But if you're going to retail, good retail, you go around. Next time you're in Harrods, Selfridges, Liberty, John Lewis, you look on the beauty counters and you will see makeup artists or someone applying skincare, and you will see a touch on the shoulder, a touch on the elbow. You will see close contact because they build rapport very quickly. Do not underestimate touch, and equally distance to your client. When I do mystery shops, because obviously I have to go in and see and experience so we know what to fix, sometimes I see therapists pull the chair away from their client during consultation. They pull their chair about 6 feet away. I was once in a situation where someone was the other side of the room, basically like shouting to me over, why are you so far away? Do I smell? Have I got something on my face? Like, what is it? Come closer. And you just wonder what on earth's going on. So touch is so important. Closeness these are things that we're human beings and we crave that community. So that's one. What else can I say? Talking, taking people on a journey, but also with your expertise. I would say it's more important to talk about what the product is going to do than what's in the product. So sometimes I see people and they're not doing anything wrong. Therapists are fantastic. They know the level of detail. They know the active ingredients, but they just chant. Vitamin C, vitamin A, it's got hyaluronic acid, this. Do you want it? Well, I don't know what those things are. I don't really care. All I care about, is it going to work? Can you put it in my lifestyle? I like to say things like, Susan, when you get up in the morning, I want you to go to your bathroom. You're going to use this. It's got this freshness of orange in there. It's going to reinvigorate, your skin, and leave it on while you're brushing your teeth so you get a little bit even more of a deeper cleanse. Rinse it off and then use this serum on top. And this is going to give you the most amazing skin. Remember, it's got the active vitamin C in there, great antioxidant, and your makeup is going to glide on effortlessly. That's all they want. That's all they crave. They don't care about all the ingredients. Of course, some will be ingredient savvy, absolutely, but we have that knowledge and we can do that. Another one. Don't be afraid to stop the treatment. This is a bit controversial. Stop the treatment mid-treatment and talk to your client about the issues that they are really concerned with. So for instance, if I'm in a consultation, I'm really concerned about my eye, and someone says, Arif, we're just about to do the eye massage with this eye cream for you, but I'm just going to show you how I want you to apply the eye cream when you get home so you can use the product and get the results. So you hold the mirror and you show them and you say, how's that feel? Oh, that's great. Do you have any questions? No. Are you happy for me to continue? Yes. Instantly, I feel as a client that you've listened to my needs, you've gone above and beyond, you've tailored that treatment just for me, and of course I'm going to buy that eye cream. So we're in these situations where we're either mute or we talk. We don't bring anything back to the customer journey. We don't tell stories, and then we expect people to buy at the end of it after building no connection.
The thing is, when you break it down and you look at it, you just think, of course that's not right. Of course you need to do it this way. And this is where I think you do it in abundance.
Thank you.
And Arif, this has been amazing. I mean, I'm just so fortunate that I work closely with you. You work with all of my members. I'm fortunate to have you as one of the experts that I work with my programs and things, and just to have you in my pocket. But it's just amazing, because the thing is that I could listen to you for hours and hours and hours, and I just know that the impact that you're having on the industry is absolutely huge. So huge thank you from the industry as well, because I think it is just taking that new element of it doesn't have to be done a certain way. There's more than one way to do it, and it's and this is just such a gentler way to do it, and it works. And thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing. So if someone wants to get in touch, what's the best way for them to contact you?
That's really good. My name is AI and everyone thinks it's artificial intelligence. It's not. I know nothing about technology, and it's something I need to really work on. So I would say to contact you directly, or to find me on LinkedIn. I do have a newsletter, but I haven't got anywhere where anyone can add that yet. So that's something I need to think about. Or you can email me at arif@aibeauty.co.uk.
Obviously, you can contact me on Instagram on Susan_Routledge, or LinkedIn again, or on the website. That's always a great place, susanroutledge.com. So Arif, this has been amazing, and thank you. I'm sure we'll have you again as a guest, because as I say, there's so much more goodness that you can give.
Just
Amazing.
scratching the surface. Thank you so much, Susan, for having me. It's been amazing.